This episode of Old Games Old is brought to you by SwitchFix. SwitchFix is a better way to play the Switch on the go. With a sleek, lightweight design that allows you to plug in your Switch, clip in your Pro Controller, and play comfortably. No more faulty attachments or Nintendo Switch grips. SwitchFix is a game changer. Get your Switch Fix today at GetSwitchFix.com or join the giveaway by clicking the link down below. There are 6 ways to win. Through the link, you can subscribe to Chiptooth Gaming, like a CTG video, or visit SwitchFix's Indiegogo page. Share the campaign with your friends, join SwitchFix's exclusive mailing list, and a bonus entry when you do all 5. One more time, that's GetSwitchFix.com or enter the giveaway in the description down below. Now on to the episode. Welcome to the 5th episode of Old Games Old, Chiptooth Gaming's bi-weekly gaming retrospective podcast. You can get the show on youtube.com/chiptoothgaming and the podcast services of your choice. My name is Noah Friscop, and across from me, the San Francisco treat, Eli Shaw. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all right. It's about 10 o'clock for me in the morning. I just pretty much rolled out of bed a couple hours ago. I'm not even going to pretend to hide my bedhead right now. It's pretty gnarly. But
hey man, it's endgame week. Nothing matters anymore.
It's Battle of Winterfell week, sir.
That too.
It's insane. I didn't realize that they were going to turn out to be the same week, but it's a monumental time to be a fucking nerd.
Hold all your Starks, Tonys, Brands.
Nobody is safe. No Starks are safe this weekend. It's oh my gosh. What did we do to deserve this?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm just going to take it. Yep. I'm not going to question anything.
It's not going to happen again for a long, long time. So just cherish it while it's here. Anyway, let's get going.
Borderlands is Gearbox Software's major claim to fame, injecting the looter-shooter RPG genre into the mainstream back in 2009. Originally coming out on PS3, Xbox 360, and PC, its success made way for 4 DLC editions as well as 3 sequels. With Borderlands 3 on the horizon, a remastered Game of the Year edition is also available on current consoles as well as PC today. And its Metacritic sits at between 81 and 84.
So you mentioned how this is basically Gearbox's main claim to fame. I mean, they worked on most notably the Half-Life 1 expansions and the Halo Custom Edition. And so really, up until this point, they were kind of primarily working in other people's IP. So the fact that they came out with such a revolutionary game pretty much right out of the gate is pretty impressive. Now, it's not perfect by any means, but just look at the industry now and look at how much like systems and just ideas come from this game. All that time back, yeah.
Yeah, Borderlands 1, I mean, going back to it, especially after playing 2 in pre-sequel, like you can tell it's very basic and like they're just trying to figure out how they want to create this new IP and everything, but it kind of still stands up, especially if you're just looking like back at, okay, where did the state of 2019 shooters begin? It kind of begins 10 years ago with Borderlands.
At the very least, like these live service games, they're taking a lot of inspiration because like even though it's like a single player story, like that has so like with the Ultimate Vault Hunter modes and all that, like there's so much longevity to these games if you want them to be. Like you can just beat through the story and be fine, but then there's like so much further depth after that with all the new Game Plus stuff and everything. So like there's a significant amount of game to chew on, even though it is just a single player or a cooperative game.
Yeah, like not only do you have new Game Plus and everything, but like each game has at least 4 different characters. So like if you're really that crazy, you can play through all 4 characters and fill out their trees however you want, and like you're getting so many playthroughs, and it really is a game that just keeps on giving. Each installation just gets better than the last. I mean, I don't know. Pre-sequel I might put behind Borderlands 2, but still it had a lot to offer.
Yeah, no, there's some things about pre-sequel that we'll talk about later that I actually really do like. But in terms of the first one, like just looking back at it now, like it's almost like, forgive the analogy, this looks more like the Road Warrior, whereas Borderlands 2 looks like Fury Road in terms of color palette. Like it's very drab and dry and brown. Like there's splashes of colors here and there, but it's fairly muted, and that makes it kind of hard to look at now, especially with how vibrant and colorful 2 is. But at the time, that was kind of the popular thing, with like Gears of War and, the just the beige, gross looking shooters at the time.
Yeah.
So they all kind of blend together. But yeah, just what's your favorite character in this one?
In Borderlands 1?
Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, let's make it clear. Probably between all three of them, it's going to be Claptrap.
Oh, I mean playable character, but that's a good one too.
Character?
Yeah, playable character. What's your favorite class?
Oh, I think I played through as Brick and Roland, and I think I preferred Brick.
Really, I played
yeah.
Roland, and he was pretty basic. So I might actually need to go back and like change who I want to play as, because it's like it's very he's got like a knife or something, like it's nothing that fancy. I love Maya in 2. She's definitely my favorite, and then pre-sequel. I can't remember her name, but she has the shield, and I liked her a lot. Athena or something like that. Yeah. So let's just get our favorite classes right out of the way in all of these. But
okay, yeah, for sure. Brick, Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, Zero, absolutely. That was my dude.
That was the first one I played as.
God, if you build Zero right, oh my God, ridiculous.
Insane.
And then pre-sequel, Claptrap. As much hate as I'm gonna get, sorry.
Now I love how the camera's like lower too. They put some love into him for sure. And isn't his ultimate ability like everyone else's at the same
Pretty
time?
much.
Like on a random dice roll.
Yeah, he has like a few like bonus ones that aren't the best, but hey, it's random.
Yeah, I think I need to go back and play it as him. Just not having to worry about the oxygen supply too would be really nice. But anyway, back to Borderlands 1. Yeah, so it's just kind of crazy looking back, and like with the announcement of Borderlands 3, they're like, the original loot shooter and stuff, like they're really falling back on like this is where this all started. And despite all the rough edges, it's still pretty fun to go back. And with the new Game of the Year whatever edition, Game of the Year 10 years ago edition, they added like some, not very many, not nearly as much as like Borderlands 2 or the pre-sequel, like customizable heads, and because before you could only really change the colors of the characters. So like the customization was pretty limited. I also want to try I want to do Mordecai too. So like I do want to do playthroughs of all these different characters. I just the time is definitely difficult.
But like I think it really goes to show like all of these characters are so enticing that you want to play through all of them, and they're so different. Like they have not only like their skills, but like their weapon like preferences are so different that like okay, if you play as Brick, you're probably gonna pick up a lot of shotguns and I don't know, like rocket launchers or something. But then if you play Mordecai, he's definitely more focused on sniper rifles and stuff like that.
Yeah, it matters a lot more in 1 as opposed to the other games, like where it really tried to funnel you toward a specific weapon type, which I think also helped the replayability, because it kind of all feels pretty similar into, like there's some of the like upgrades in the skill trees that like benefit certain kinds of weapons, but overall you definitely are geared a lot more tightly in terms of what you want to find and what your loot preferences are going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's I played all 3 of them with the same friend, and so I did it just two-player co-op.
That's actually awesome.
But it's amazing. I hope to do it with 3. We'll see. But it's great to play with a friend, just because like if you find something that you don't want, you don't like you guys can't play the same characters, so like there's probably something that they need or that fits with their skill tree better, and it's just a better cohesion, I think, overall.
And I think it's really cool that you can't play the same character, because it would be kind of obnoxious to have 2 of the same running around. And that's like, it's like such a nitpick, but it bothers me about like some like loot games and RPGs, like just like Diablo and everything. It's like you're just like blatantly in the same characters.
It's true.
And that the Marvel, the online like Diablo game, not Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but the multiplayer one, Marvel Heroes. Yeah, like that bothered me a lot. There's just like 18 Black Panthers running around. It's like, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, just put 1 on each server. Come on, guys.
Exactly. But anyway, just at the time, I really can't think of any like shooters that tried to really closely blend RPG elements before this. Can you think of any?
Not really. Like, if they did, it seemed more RPG than shooter.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't first person. I can say that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this really like blended so many different genres into one, like, and it came out perfectly. In my opinion, like they improved on a lot, but like it's still the foundation was built so well that like you could have really only, you can't disappoint with any more iterations unless you just change everything like for the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I should preface. I don't consider games like Deus Ex or anything like that shooters. Like those are RPGs purely, and
Okay.
like I guess those are first person. They have shooting elements. I just wanted to like clarify that because I know there's been a lot of those before that. So I guess yeah, I would also consider like Fallout 3 an RPG before a shooter. But yeah, this is definitely closer. I would say it's a more of a 75% split between shooting and just pure RPG elements, rather than those games were definitely the opposite ratio.
Yeah, you're leveling up, you're building a skill tree, but like it's all it's geared towards the shooting, and like that's really where they're trying to like focus you, is like this is a shooter thing. Like there's other things going on, you're gonna see numbers, you're gonna level up, you're gonna pick skills, blah blah blah, but like just shoot stuff and you'll be good.
Just shoot stuff, but there is an element of grind to it that I kind of don't like, because you can't really just go through and just play the story. You have to do as many side quests as humanly possible, which kind of gets grating after a point. Because really, when you think about it, the mission structure for each quest is pretty damn similar. You go to a place, shoot up the things, and press the action button to activate something that's story contextualized. So that's why playing with a friend definitely helps, because when you boil it down, it's a very simple loop.
It's simple, and especially with one with like the scenery, it gets pretty repetitive.
Exactly. That's where the color palette too really did it a service for sure.
Yeah, and they try to speed it up with like I don't know if you could fast travel in one, but
I can't recall, to be honest. You must be, right? Like you have to, right?
Maybe you get a car. I'm not.
Yeah.
I think that might be their kind of their version of it, but yeah, it still doesn't really offset the fact that like you are just kind of grinding in this samey looking place, and like there's been plenty of times in Borderlands 1 where I just got lost and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'll just follow whatever quest I put on my map and just get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think I usually am not a fan of minimaps, but the Game of the Year edition, the new version of Borderlands 1 that just came out, they added Borderlands 2's minimap, so that should relieve some of that just like aimless wandering, because you literally had to open the map every time you wanted to know where you were going, and it was kind of obnoxious. And for a game like that where you just kind of want to keep going, I don't want to have to be checking the main map at all the time. And it's not even that good of a main map. Like there's some pretty significant verticality in some of these areas, and it doesn't really show that. It's just a top-down topographical view, so you don't know if you're trying to go up or down or what. So it's having that mini map, I think, is a great addition. I'm glad that they included that, especially. It's just like the little quality of life things that, going back to playing the original version, and we're probably going to be hard to stomach if you've played a lot of 2 and pre-sequel.
Yeah, luckily the whatever Game of the Year edition is out, like stick with that. You don't have to go back to the original version unless like all you have is an Xbox 360 and a PS3. But yeah, I'm glad they released this remaster, because like there are a lot of quality of life improvements that they made afterwards that could just be thrown on top of the game of Borderlands 1, and you'll be better off.
Absolutely. And I'm surprised it's taken this long. I know like game development's really hard, and they've been working on 3 for so long, but like this far into the generation, I feel like it's taken this long in the generation of remasters to see one of the best games of last gen. It's a little odd to me, but it's here now, and you can enjoy it. Was there ever, or did they say the date for 3 yet? I can't recall. Like November?
I think it's probably like around November. Yeah, it might just be a window. Actually, no, there's a full date. I'm just gonna say November right now. I'll look it up in a minute. But so do you have any favorite like boss battles of Borderlands 1?
Borderlands 1,
few bosses.
They're a lot less memorable to me in this one. Like I'm struggling trying to even think of one that really stood out because like it kind of falls into the trap of the games that do this kind of design philosophy now is that a lot of the bosses are just like bullet spongy. They're just like this giant health bar that you have to tick away at. I guess it was nice that Borderlands does have like the elemental damage types where like different enemies would react differently to different damages, which it kind of made it a little bit less repetitive. Like you look at something like Destiny and there's damage types, but it really doesn't affect it too much. Like, there's like armor and stuff, but like it really doesn't matter. Yeah. So Borderlands, it's nice that you have like the slag and all of the let me see. I'm looking at Borderlands 3 is replacing slag with radiation. So yeah, you have these different damage types that kind of help alleviate some of the repetitiveness, but still I feel like 2 is when it kind of fell into its stride in terms of boss fights.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only person I remember from 1 was Nine Toes. Now that I'm looking at the list, yeah, the ending, the last final boss battle was all right, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess
it was pretty weird,
pretty panned from what I understand.
Yeah,
and I guess they fixed it in this new version, so it might not be as quite as tedious or as underwhelming. Okay. Yeah, luckily. Yeah, I'm looking at the list. Like a lot of these guys are just like random like bandits types. Like they're nothing really that crazy.
Yeah, when I think about it, they all kind of look the same. They just look like bigger versions of the enemies that you were fighting normally,
which makes sense.
Psycho or whatever.
Because it's a lot more consistent world. It's a lot less bombastic. It's still definitely bombastic, but it's not quite as over the top for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely still rooted in like Mad Max in this game, and like how can we take characters from that and turn them into video game characters?
Make their muscles gigantic.
Exactly. Make them gigantic, make them just over the top crazy, and like, I don't know, do backflips constantly. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty weird.
I liked how there was so many like optional bosses though. Because you go through and you fight a few just like in the main story or whatever, but then if you want to go off and make the game last a lot longer, there's these different new foes to fight, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got to explore, and when you do that, you'll run into these named enemies that's like, oh, okay, let's see what you got.
And speaking of exploration, I feel like something at the time I didn't like was that it's not a full open world. It's like kind of segmented, which I didn't like at the time. I always wish it was like fully open world, but now looking back in like every game's open world, I actually love it. It's very, you have quests, a few quests in each area, and it makes it a lot less daunting when you look at the whole map and there's a bazillion map markers to go to. You can just kind of chip away at it piece by piece, and it's a lot easier to digest from a visual point, and just like, oh my god, I gotta do like 87 quests. There's like 87 side quests on one area. No, it's a lot easier to manage. And in this game, it's obviously not quite as big as 2, but there's still quite a bit to do in the world.
Yeah, you have a few different areas that you travel in between, and for the most part, you are kind of splitting your time between each little world, I guess. And I never thought about how like just seeing all of the markers on one map gets overwhelming, but like when you split it up like that, it really makes it more like, okay, I'm gonna knock out this place, go back, see what like bounties are over here, knock out another area.
And also just makes every area feel a little bit more distinct. In 1 to a lesser extent, because it is all very similar looking, not gonna lie, but it keeps every area being like, oh, this is where these types of enemies are, this is where these types of enemies are, so on and so on. Gives a little bit more diversity to the landscape than it usually would if it was all just one massive map, which I appreciate.
That's true.
Yeah. So diversity is key in terms of, especially in shooters, like you want as many different environments as you possibly can, and that's where they kind of fell into their stride with 2. But I feel like we're just like, we really just want to talk about 2. So any final thoughts on Borderlands 1?
No, I guess other than buy it. If you haven't played it yet,
at least play it. It's worth the play.
Yeah, if you have a PC, that shit's so cheap all the time. Even the remaster, I'm sure it's like $10-15.
And they gave it out for free if you already own the other one.
There you go.
Yeah,
like,
big fan of that.
Give it a shot. especially if you're going to play through the rest of them, because definitely in 2, I don't remember in the pre-sequel if anyone shows up, but 2, like, characters are showing up from this game that it definitely means more if you've played through the first game.
And that's a cool thing about the series in general, is like the protagonists of the previous games will kind of help you out and guide you in the next game. Mm-hmm. And there are some characters from 2 that show up in the pre-sequel. I remember that for sure. So yeah, there's this cool interconnectivity to it with its characters that I really appreciate. You really don't see very often, especially when they're just kind of NPCs, kind of like either giving you quests or just like they're just there in the world. And it kind of all makes it feel pretty cohesive. So, all right, let's move on to Borderlands 2.
Where does Borderlands 2 rank on the
scale?
Tier list, yeah, on the scale.
It's my favorite. It's definitely the one I spent the most time in, by far. I played it at a friend's house the day it came out, and I just remember, like, it was definitely the first game of its ilk that I ever played, so it was kind of like almost like opening a whole new world for me. And I played as Zero first because he just looked the coolest for sure. And you can't go wrong with ninjas, space ninjas. But yeah, no, I just remember being just like so awestruck by it, because just before that, there really wasn't the loot shooter takeoff as it happened after this, in the time between 2 and 3 that we've seen. So just having this whole world, this really diverse, colorful, the funny cast of characters, often funny cast of characters. Some of the jokes do not, like, even some of the memes were outdated then, but it's still fun. And the tone is a lot more lighthearted, and just lighthearted in some areas and like really dark and messed up in others. Like, it rides the line of twisted and comedic and slapstick all the time. But that's kind of their shtick at this point. But yeah, I think it's my favorite. I like the characters, the cast of characters the best, the locations the best. I'm gonna be curious to see if 3 can top this, because I think it's pretty. I can't really think of many issues I have with it, honestly. Besides I don't like the gunplay across the series very much, especially on controller. I think that's just its biggest problem, is just its base mechanics. But if you play it on mouse, it's all right.
Did you play it on PS3 or PS4?
Initially PS3. I played this game so much. So first I played it on PS3, and then I got the whatever Game of the Year edition with all the DLC on Xbox 360, and I played a Psycho character then, which was a lot of fun. And then I played it on PS4 a bunch.
Okay, cool.
And then definitely the most time I spent on it was on the 360 version. That's where I played like pretty much the whole thing through with Maya and then Krieg. And then I picked up I found a save file, luckily, for 2 on Steam, the Steam version, where I could just basically pick up where I was with Maya. So I'm pretty much at the end now.
Awesome.
And I'll also admit that I haven't beat it, but I've pretty much seen the whole game. I've played, vast majority of the side quests and everything, so I can pretty speak to this one pretty detailed.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was gonna say I played through it on PS3 entirely. Like, I don't think I touched it on PS4 at all, just because I had already played it so many times. I was like, I'm good.
That intro's rough. As someone who's played that intro several times, it's kind of a drag for sure.
Yeah, I wasn't really into it at the time, but I think with the Handsome Collection and probably however they improved it on PC, the fact that it goes from 30 to 60 frames per second on the Handsome Collection really ups the playability. Like, just within the first few minutes of playing the pre-sequel, I was like, wow, this feels unlike any other Borderlands game. Like, this is so smooth.
It's a monumental improvement on console, because PS3 is like, it's a rocky 30. It's not solid. So going to like a solid 60 FPS, it definitely goes a long way to help that feel problem. But that's pretty consistent across PS3 and PS4 games. PS3, just playing shooters on it was really hard, which is another reason why I really want a Resistance collection. But anyway, we'll talk about that another day.
Yeah. So yeah, Borderlands 2, I played through, I think I'm going to say 3 or 4 times as Zero.
Oh, just as the same character. Damn. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't really want to change anyone, because I was like, dude, this is my guy. Like, if I'm going to keep playing like these harder versions, I'm just going to stick with my dude that's built the fuck out. And I played through most of the DLC too. I don't think I finished all of them, especially not the pirate one. I think that's the only one I didn't finish, is the pirate's booty. whatever you want to call
something like that. So you played Tiny Tina's?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's cool. That's probably one of the best DLCs.
Yeah, they're pretty good, actually. I think the DLC is really where they kind of have fun with everything. Even in Borderlands 1, like the Dr. Zed zombie thing, and then Claptrap's like robot uprising or whatever, like they take like the story and they take the characters and like just make this wild story that doesn't have to fit with anything else that's going on, but just is like, hey, these are the characters you love, have some fun with it. Like,
yeah, just kind of a micro story, like a spin-off episode,
Yeah.
filler episode, as it were.
It's almost like just a bag full of side quests, and it's like, here's some more stuff to do.
With some crazy twists. And yeah, so there was like the main DLCs, and there was also like those headhunter, like the little side quest missions. Did you play those?
I think I played through a few of them. That was with like Terramorphous and whatever.
Yeah, just they're pretty small. They were only like $2.99 or something.
Yeah, but those were very difficult, I gotta say.
Yeah, those were for like the end game people that were like doing Ultra Vault Hunter, True Vault Hunter mode or whatever.
Yeah, Borderlands 2 is really where they took the loot and just made that their marquee like thing is like loot, guns.
A billion guns, a bazillion guns or whatever. Yeah.
This is where they really were like, we have the most guns of any game ever. Like, game over, like case closed, mic drop, whatever you gotta say.
But at the point, it's like, you can have a billion guns, but you're never gonna even come close to using them, so it doesn't matter that you have a billion guns.
I mean, it doesn't matter, and probably a lot of them are garbage anyway.
Yeah,
like white and green tier guns. But I think just the fact that like there is that randomness of like, how often are you gonna get this same gun again? Like it just adds like the kind of like a mental thing where it's like, okay, I'm always chasing something new, and even if it's worse, like at least it's new.
Yeah, it's new, and this is where I really wish they kind of kept the more Borderlands 1 style like weapon specialization, is because there are so many different guns that like it would definitely influence me to replay it if each character was better with each different type. So like I would be actively searching for like sniper rifles or shotguns or whatever, depending on the character type. And or maybe for what's the dual wielding guy's name? I can't remember. Salvador, of course. How could I forget? Salvador, maybe like, he would go after multiple types, or Zero would maybe do like pistols or something. So I don't know. I feel like I would be more motivated. Whereas every time I played through it, I feel like I'm just using the same weapons. Well, or at least the same type of weapons, if that makes sense. Like you find your niche and you kind of stick to it, and that's what you look for. So any kind of incentive to go out and search for different ones and change up your playstyle, I think would have been welcome. If I do have criticism, I think that would be it. It just like they have all these guns, and I just kind of stick to the set few.
Yeah, I think my strategy was always like, I'll keep maybe like one of each on each, because you get like 4 guns at a time, right?
At max. It takes a while to upgrade that, but yeah.
Yeah, so I would keep like one of each of my favorites on the wheel, and then maybe if I was like built more towards snipers, I'd have 2 snipers or something. But they definitely replaced the weapon class thing with the weapon brand focus,
which is cool. I think from a storytelling perspective too, you just have like all these manufacturers, they do all these very specific things. I think that's great.
Yeah, and that's like leading up to it, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like, because they had the same manufacturers in Borderlands 1, but like they didn't really necessarily like change much. But Borderlands 2, they're like, okay, weapon classes, like, yeah, there are those, but like you're really going to have a manufacturer over like, oh, I only play snipers. No, it's gonna be like, oh, I only play like the
Malawan
with the element.
Yeah,
the Malawan. Like those were the ones that are heavy on elemental, and then there's some that were just like heavy on bullet damage and
the Hyperion ones, and I can't think of all of them right now, but yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. So like, yeah, each manufacturer had its own different play style, and that added another level on top of like, okay, I'm gonna pick this character with this skill tree, maybe I'll play only snipers, and then I'll pick only Hyperion snipers or something.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. That's a really good point because it does pretty significantly change the whole pace of the game. Because 1 minute you could just be like firing slag at an enemy, and then you should have a shotgun that shoots like 4 rounds at once just to to beat that armor damage. But yeah, I really liked when I was playing my first Maya run. I stuck with largely Hyperion submachine guns because once you get it, because I guess if you don't know, the gimmick with that is like the more you fire, the closer the spread gets. So you can just get a tight spread with an immense amount of bullets coming out and just tear up. So you just kind of find your niche, and every character works differently. So that was the playthrough where I played mostly with my little brother. He played the Necromancer character, and we found that it was actually a pretty great combination because you would freeze lock with Maya, and then he would pop out the machine, and he would just wreck shop. So we found a pretty good rhythm, and I like that even on just like a 2-player cooperative, you can kind of form those strategies with each character and have each character actually be really useful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to say I think playing it with just 2 people might be my preferred way. Just with 4, I don't know if I played with 3, but definitely 4, like it kind of gets pretty crowded with people, and it's like, okay, what am I supposed to do here?
Exactly. Yeah, and the enemies are like so buffed to a point where it's like they're so spongy, and it just makes the grind even worse. But yeah, and that's another thing. It's like there's tons of like writing and like audio logs and stuff in these games that they want you to listen to, and they spend a lot of time writing, I imagine, and then you're just kind of like heckling it with your friend the whole time. You can't even hear it if you're in a group of that size. If you're in like 2-person, and you just shut up and listen to this, and then it's a lot easier to kind of pay attention. I don't know. It's even playing it today, it's pretty crazy to see just how big of an impact it's landed. And even like when it came out, like I remember, I grew up like when I went to high school, like mainly the games that people played were like just like the Call of Duties, Maddens and stuff like that. But Borderlands was like probably like the nerdiest mainstream game at the time. Like people loved Borderlands, and it has a monumental like just mainstream following as well. It's not just like a hardcore gamers game. It's there's a pretty wide outreach, and I think 3 is gonna sell like crazy because of it.
I hope so, because like especially in this day and age where like single player stuff is getting like more praise, and just like that's what people want now is like, I'm tired of Destiny, I'm tired of these MMO stuff, like just give me a disc I can pop in and play.
Well, and that's what I'm hoping. I hope that, put your money where your mouth is with that, because you can say where's all the single player games all day, but if you don't buy it, then we'll see.
True,
yeah. Too much. So put your money where your mouth is, vote with your wallet,
please. I mean, I say that, and at the same time, like they took however many years to make Borderlands 3, when like Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel I'm sure made them a lot, but I digress.
True, yeah. That's why I think this game's going to be... I'm almost worried with 3 that it's going to be too big in terms of quests and everything. Like, 2 is already a pretty meaty game, and pre-sequel nearly as much, so...
they're both pretty massive.
Pretty massive, and they take enough time just to finish the main storyline, let alone all like the new game pluses with all the crazy bosses and all the side content and stuff. So, and they did confirm that there's a season pass, right, with 3, because that's another issue I had with 2 is just the crazy amount of DLC. It got a little out of hands, but
yeah, there's quite a bit of DLC with the pre-sequel. I mean, I know Gearbox didn't make it, but their DLC is a little more palatable. But that's in the future.
So we'll talk about that later. Yeah, I'm just trying to think, man. I guess the big elephant in the room, Handsome Jack, is like he's probably one of the biggest touchstones to, I guess, Borderlands as a series, and just its kind of mark on gaming. Do you like him? Is he overrated, or is he pretty damn great?
No way. Handsome Jack is awesome. I mean, like, he's shitty, he's bad, but like as a villain, he's pretty great.
Yeah, I love him. He's there with you the whole time, which is kind of like, I think I remember them saying like they wanted to have a villain that was just constantly bickering you the whole time, so that when you do fight him, it feels really personal, and it does.
Yeah, dude, he sucks, and like he's constantly in your radio, just like talking shit, and like he's funny, but like he's just talking shit the whole time. It's like, fuck you, dude. And so when you finally get to fight him, it's like, thank you, shoot your face off. He has that little thing on his face, whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of shooting your face off, Face McShooty is still hilarious to me. Like, dude, it'll never get old.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, just like when I first found it, I was just like, what board meeting did they have where like, we're gonna have this quest, right? And there's just gonna be one NPC, and he's just like, shoot me in the face, please. And he freaks out for like 15 minutes until you don't do it. Can you fail that one? I've always given him the satisfaction. Can you like shoot him in the knee and like fail it?
You can definitely fail. I think if you just walk away or something, like it'll fail and you don't get whatever he gives you. But
yeah, just like random stuff like that. Like, it's just like, who thought of this stuff? Like, oh my god! And the whole Ninja Turtles quest and like the Minecraft quest, and like there's so many crazy ones.
Just gonna say the Ninja Turtle quest is my standout thing from Borderlands 2. Like, it was so random. We're just going through the sewers, that sewer level or whatever, it's like a cave, I think.
Yeah, it was a sewer. It was a sewer for sure. Yeah.
Okay, and then you come across this room that's like, okay, pull this lever, turn this thing on.
There's pizza everywhere, like leading up to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, what is going on here? And we figure it out, and these 4 people come out with like pretty much the Ninja Turtle weapons, and you're like, we're fighting the fucking Ninja Turtles right now.
Right now, it's awesome. And I believe that there is actually, so I didn't discover it organically like that. I wish I did, but there is a quest to like hunt them down and take them out, which leads you down there too. But if you find them organically, that would actually be awesome. And I'm kind of jealous, but yeah, no, just like, that's one of the references that definitely is cool and does stay the test of time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just the random little details, like, just I appreciate the level of care that went into this, and like, well, all of the games, but especially too, like, just so many great little nods. And that's what I'm almost most looking forward to with 3, is like, with how the game industry has changed, like, what are they going to pick at and what are they going to make fun of and embrace and everything else, like, and memes, like what memes are they going to use?
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about, like, with Borderlands 3, how's the references going to change and like the humor a little bit, like, because Borderlands 2, the last Gearbox made one, and like they really push like, this is our identity, like we're just joking around, like, here's this quest, you go into this room, turns out it's Minecraft, you get a Minecraft skin or whatever, like, just wild shit like that. Like, Borderlands 2, oh my god, dude, there's gonna be Fortnite stuff in Borderlands 2.
I really don't want that to happen, but it's probably gonna happen.
They did it with Minecraft, and at the same time, I was like, ugh, really? But thinking back on it, like, okay, that was kind of cool.
I had a Steve Commando character. I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
I didn't play him that much, but it was still cool. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm definitely curious to see where 3 goes with that, just because how, like, I don't know, people's comedy has changed a lot, and what people find funny has changed a lot, and like what's acceptable now. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, no, 2, it really left a bold statement. It's like, we're very brash, very loud, kind of obnoxious sometimes, but also pretty endearing. And there's some characters that are some legitimately great characters in and of their own right.
Oh, absolutely. Hammerlock, amazing. His whole quest with like, oh, I need you to kill all these,
the bully mongs.
The bully mongs, yeah, and like, for research, and then throughout that whole mission, he's just renaming them, so you're killing the same thing, but like they have a different name every time you look at them, and
like just little things like just messing with the UI like that, and it's so charming. And then like having like Claptrap interrupt in the middle of the quest, like, hey, if you bring it back to me, I'll get you this. So like, you can say like, what matters to you more, like the customization, or do you want a sniper rifle? Like, it's I like when there was like the little branching paths in those quests, and like they don't it really only matters in like what loot you get. It's not like Fallout New Vegas, where if you complete one person's quest, you're an enemy of the other person. So it's not quite that deep. Once again, it's still a shooter at its core. It's not an RPG. But yeah, just little details like that. It makes it kind of impossible not to at least smirk at and appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the customization in this game was pretty deep. You get your heads. I think you just get like colors for the body and the head, but like you could really customize it however you want. There's so many different colors, so many different like premium skins or whatever, and like that was really after a certain point, that's all I was chasing. Like I have my favorite guns, whatever, but like I really want this cool skin that makes you look like a snake or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm hoping Borderlands 3 kind of opens that up even more, but that also goes back to the egregious DLC where it's like there's so many DLC heads and skins, it's a little obnoxious. But they're pretty cool. Like there's the Salvador where he's got like the top hat and there's the t-shirt with like the tuxedo on it. Like there's some good stuff. And in the crazy skin culture we have now, like I feel like people are just gonna eat that shit up.
That's true. I guess this was in a microtransaction is king world.
Yeah. Like, are they gonna how many day one DLC skins are there gonna be on this guy? I'm gonna be really curious.
I don't know. Get that ultimate edition. Get every
get
skin,
your gold edition. God,
$100
spreadsheet edition. Anyway,
not even like a map or anything. I bet.
No,
just skins. What a world!
What a world! The triple A.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway,
so I have a question.
Okay.
You played Maya, right?
Primarily, I played a significant amount of time with the Commando, Krieg, and Maya. I messed around with Salvador just to kind of, I didn't like him very much because like his ultimate is just what you're doing all the time. Yeah. With the other ones, like you kind of get a little bit more variety. So I didn't really mess with him too much, except to equip that the tuxedo skin because I liked it so much. And then I didn't really mess around with the Necromancer because that was what my brother played. So yeah, but Maya is definitely my favorite, having at least dabbled in all the characters.
Okay. Did you have like a way that you played her?
Not necessarily. With her, I liked revolvers a lot, and I would like phase lock and then just like revolver the crap out of them because your fire rate's insane and revolvers do crazy amount of damage. So, and I often always go toward sniper rifles. So a lot of semi-auto weapons, a lot of the automatics, they just don't quite do that much damage, and that's kind of, they don't feel very balanced. I hope 3 kind of rebalances the weapons a little bit, because after a certain point, if your assault rifle doesn't like shoot grenades, it doesn't really do that much damage at all.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wilder the weapon, like the more useful it becomes. You realize later on.
Yeah, but sometimes I just kind of just want a boring AR. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I just need to not have the vanilla ice cream of guns. I just need to expand my palette a little bit.
Yeah, man. Use a shotgun that shoots rockets.
Or shotgun that shoots swords, like in the DLC. I love it.
Yes.
I do love shotguns too.
Yes.
I'll say that. I like. Yeah. So I really do like the semi-autos in Borderlands 2 because they just range-wise and damage-wise, especially when you combine them with the phase lock, and they basically feel like an auto when you're just mashing it, and you get the fire rate upgrade, which is borderline overpowered, but it's not because it's an option.
No, yeah, like it's Borderlands 2 has so much depth, and that's really like an understatement, but like you have your skill tree, and then you have like I forget, like your challenges. You get keys,
the badass points,
other like just base stat upgrades,
which I really like. That no matter what character you're using, all of those upgrades carry over from character to character. So even if you're just starting like a low level character, you're still managing to upgrade your main character, which I think is cool because like you're always making some sort of progress. Because at first, you're inaccurate, your reload speed sucks, but then like you start, by the end of the game, you have crazy accuracy and you're reloading like really fast, and then you can start a new character, and all those upgrades are already there. And I think that's great because it does feel like a slog when you start from scratch once you feel what it's like to have a fully kitted out class.
Yeah, I think that this is where they really like leaned into the fact that you're going to be playing this multiple times and probably multiple characters, so like have as much fun as possible. We're not gonna like gate off anything, just you're gonna start a new character from scratch with their skills, but like you can carry over so much between everyone.
Yeah, and I guess like after a certain point, I guess if you are one of those like completionists and you want to do every character each time, like I wonder if there's like a way they could basically make like a story light mode, because like I feel like it would get pretty egregious after a point, like hearing all the same dialogue over and over again. Because like if you're just playing it just to get the best loot and go through it again and try to max out, like maybe there's a way they can kind of make it less repetitive, just just focus on the gameplay and kind of have the first run be where you get the story, and then after that you kind of just are just let through the world and it's more about the side quests.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe, and like cool. And have it option like raid bosses and stuff like that to search after.
I wonder, maybe Borderlands 3 they might try to experiment with that. Like, hopefully they seem to be pretty ahead of the game with certain player experiences, like replaying and stuff, and trying not to make it boring.
They try. I think this kind of was their biggest claim to fame and also their biggest success, because a lot of their other games just have not turned out whatsoever. Like, I mean, you look at, Colonial Marines, which is a disaster. You got the Battleborn, which is just dead on arrival. So it's like, this is like the only thing they can do right at this point. But exactly. I believe they will do it right. I think it's going to be good. Will it be 10 out of 10? Maybe, maybe not, but will it be worth the wait? At least I think so, especially if for those that have waited so long and have played the other game so much.
Absolutely. I'm ready for it now. It comes out in October. I checked early October, so let's go.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be. I almost want to wait, because they always do their egregious, like, here's all the DLC editions, so I might wait for that one, to be honest. And
that's true.
And I also kind of just want to spend some time with the other ones, with these new updated 4K versions, and just kind of savor it, because it's not going anywhere, and there's not going to be another one for a long ass time. So I'm not really in a hurry. But anyway, with Borderlands 2, any final thoughts?
Last thing I'll say is Zero is 100% my dude. He's a robot. He's a robot assassin. Guys, if you're playing Zero, fill up that skill tree with where he throws the knives. I'm looking at it right now. It's called Death Blossom. It's amazing. I highly recommend you getting to that. He just throws a bunch of elemental knives that just stack and stack and stack damage, and you can increase your elemental damage. I just love Borderlands so much. God, it's just amazing. That's all I gotta say. Zero's my dude. Best character in Borderlands 2, hands down. Sorry.